What is the longest title drought ever in PBA history? Now, when I say title drought, I don't mean somebody only winning one title and then not winning again, because in that case, a title drought could last 20 or 30 years. Nor am I talking about a title drought when a player is trying to win their first ever title. I'm talking about the length of time between winning titles. So here are some of the longest title droughts that I know of. Firstly, there's Amleto Monticelli, who went for 11 years before winning another title against Don Barrett in the 2016 Japan Invitational. Then there was Ryan Schaefer with a 12-year drought. He won his fourth title in 2003, but wouldn't win his fifth until 2015, despite making many shows, particularly in the majors, during that time. But the longest title drought that I know of is by Jack Jurek, who won 2 titles in his career, the first in 1995 and the second in 2009, for a total drought of 14 years. I did do some research online, but I couldn't really find many statistics about title droughts and only found confirmation of Jurek's 14-year drought. So if you know of any bowlers who went for more than 14 years between titles, then please do let me know in the comment section below. I did, however, find some good stats for title droughts on the regional tour, and that record belongs to Dave Johnson, who went 42 years between winning regional titles. You might think that this will never be beaten, but there are at least 6 players behind him, all with 30-year plus droughts, so there's a possibility it could be broken in the future. So why am I talking about title droughts? Well, it's because of what happened at the first PBA event of the 2025 season, the Delaware Classic. Spoiler alert, when Graham Fach won his second PBA title at the Delaware Classic 2025, he broke a 9-year title drought. While not as lengthy as some of the other bowlers I mentioned earlier, it's still a very impressive feat, considering the struggles he's had since winning the PBA Players' Championship in 2016, which, believe it or not, was only his second ever PBA event. It made him the first ever Canadian to win a PBA title, but after that, things just never really went right for him until now. Therefore, I want to break down what happened on the telecast, as it was a very impressive showing from him. All week, the scores were insanely high. There were 13 300s bowled, loads of high averages, and also Michael Davison broke the 12-game scoring record with 3,086 pins for an average of just over 257. It might come as no surprise that the pattern used for this event was the cheetah. The reason they used this pattern for this opening event is that the Cheetah Championship has been removed from the World Series of Bowling. So after the high scores throughout the week, we were in for potentially a high scoring telecast, and that's pretty much what we got. Fach was the 3 seed and played the winner of the first match, AJ Johnson versus Michael Davison. As predicted, there were a lot of strikes in this match, but Davison just edged this one after AJ made a couple of bad shots going high in the 8th, leaving the 3-6-10, and then threw the nose on his fill shot of the 10th frame to leave the 3-4-6-7-10. Davidson got the mark he needed in the 10th to advance. The final score, 237 to 232. Match 2 saw Davison meet Graham Fach, and the lefty looked very comfortable out on the lanes using his Black Pearl urethane. It was a hot start for both players. Fach had the front 5 and Davison had the first 4, but the 5th did go extremely wide, and he was perhaps fortunate to just leave a 2-pin, but he did strike in the 6th. Fach made it 6 in a row before putting this shot a little inside to leave the 4-7. Davison then doubled but made a bad shot on the left lane and was way inside, but did make the spare. Fach's shot in the 8th hit really flat, and he was fortunate to not leave the 7-10 and then left another 7-pin. Suddenly it looked like his shot had just gone, and the ball didn't have any sort of drive on those last 2 shots, but it was 2 close frames. Now, we did actually have the possibility of a tie here, with both players having the potential to max out at 256. Davison struck in the 9th, but on the left lane, he was inside again, but this time got some hold and struck. But he got no hold on the next shot, which was inside again, and paid the price, leaving the 4-6-10. Now, this meant Fach needed a 17-pin fill to win, but there were no problems as he doubled to advance. The final score in this match was 256 to 242. Match number 3, and it was 2 seed Nick Pate that took on Fach next, and Pate was the second player on the telecast to make it this far after qualifying from the PTQ. Again, it was a high scoring affair with both players looking good, but especially Nick Pate, who came in firing straight away in this one. He was up by 9 after 9 frames, but Fach once again was clutch, striking in the 9th and all 3 times in the 10th for a 2:49 game, and this really put the pressure on Pate, who now needed a double and 2 pins, but this shot was way inside and he would have been very disappointed with that shot. He bowled a great game overall, but Fach was just too good towards the end of the match. The final score was 249 to 226. So now we have the title match, and it's 1 seed Jacob Buttroff coming in to make it a battle of the one-handed lefties. Graham Fach up to this point has been as cool as ice, striking when it mattered most, and he would continue dominating the show in the title match. Now, to be fair, Buttroff did make a couple of bad shots, but he also had some pretty bad luck early on in the match. In the 3rd, he left this pocket 10 pin that wobbled, and then after that he left the 2, 4, 6, 7, 10 in the 4th, but he was unlucky not to convert it. Regardless of this though, there wasn't really anything Jacob could have done in the end, as Fach was just lights out, getting the first 4 strikes, 9 spare, and then striking to the last ball of the 10th, where he got an 8 count for a 277 game. He was just fantastic during the entire show, and you never would have guessed it had been 9 years since he'd won a title. It looked like he was basically fresh off his 2016 win, as he had so much confidence on the lanes, but also remained very calm throughout. He had the look of a bowler who'd won many titles in his time. Nothing really fazed him, and it was a well-deserved win. He bowled games of 256, 249 and 277 for an average of over 260. Clearly, he was the best bowler on the day, and those 3 games were just fantastic to watch. Well, that's the first PBA event in the books, and if you're worried that the scoring pace is going to be insanely high at the next event, well, don't be, because it's the US Open coming up next, with the telecast being broadcast on FS1 on the 1st of February and on Fox on the 2nd of February. Judging by the PTQ results, this one is going to be a grind, as the US Open always is. And in terms of the scoring pace, it will be a big contrast to this event. So that will bring us to an end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the 2025 Delaware Classic. If you have enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you would click the subscribe button below. And I will of course be doing more breakdown videos for the rest of the events throughout 2025, so make sure to keep an eye out for those. That's going to do it from me for today, and as always, thank you bowling fans, and see you all next time.